Chapter 1. The City Kid and the Strange Message. Nico Reyes was 12 years old, 5 foot nothing, and the fastest player on any concrete pitch in Queens, which in his neighborhood was saying something. He had grown up kicking a ball against the bodega wall on Junction Boulevard. Before the owner came out to shoo him away, he had learned to juggle in a hallway barely wider than his shoulders. He had watched every World Cup final on a laptop propped on his grandmother's kitchen table, his nose 3 inches from the screen. Soccer wasn't something Nico did. It was something Nico was. Excited, but this autumn was different. Nico had been selected out of thousands of kids for a U.S. Youth Soccer Development Camp in Tecate, in Colorado. Real pitches, real coaches, real scouts who could put his name on a list that might one day lead to the crest on a jersey he had only ever dreamed about. He arrived at the camp early and worked hard. He ran the extra laps. He stayed late for finishing drills. He watched the other boys making him wine, many of whom had grown up in proper academies with proper boots and proper everything. And he felt something he had never felt on the concrete pitch at home. One evening after dinner, the head coach, Mr. Adeyemi, pulled Nico aside. He was a tall Nigerian-American man with patient eyes and a quiet way of speaking that made you lean in. "I want to send you somewhere," Mr. Adeyemi said, "before we go further with your development." There's a man I know. He lives alone on a mountain in Mongolia. So don't ask me how he got there. He's a teacher unlike any other, and I think you need to meet him before you go any further. Nico blinked. "A mountain in Mongolia. Why?" Mr. Adeyemi smiled. "Because you play like someone who is running away from something, Nico, not toward it. Until you know the difference, no amount of coaching will fix it." That night, Nico lay on his bunk and stared at the ceiling. He told himself it was crazy. He told himself he just needed more touches, more film sessions, a better left foot. But in the small, honest part of him that he never showed anyone, the part that spoke up at 2 a.m. when everything else was quiet, he knew exactly what Mr. Adeyemi meant. A question to carry. You were already walking before anyone called your name. The fisherman and the crane. There was once a fisherman named Huang who cast his net in the same river, at the same bend, at the same hour, every single morning for 30 years. One day a crane landed beside him. Instead of looking at the fish in the water, it stared at the faraway hills. "Strange bird," said Huang. "The fish are here. Why do you look over there?" "Strange fisherman," said the crane, "and the river runs all the way to the sea. Why do you always stay here?" The crane flew away. That night, Huang could not sleep. He realized he had always wanted to see what was on the other side of those hills. The crane hadn't planted that wish. It had only given it a name. The next morning, Huang walked toward the hills and discovered that his feet already knew the path. Have you ever felt like you were running away from something instead of toward it? What were you really chasing? Sometimes the most important journey begins not when someone calls us, but when we finally admit to ourselves that we have been wanting to go all along.